Happy Wednesday. It is November 8th. We are cruising into Thanksgiving season and ready for another great day. So welcome to today. Today's team meeting is going to be fun. I mean, they're always fun, right? Yesterday, we were lucky enough to be in person with a few of the ALC members and some of our leadership team with Mark Willis, who is the former CEO of the company, Keller Williams International. He is back in on the executive leadership team at International, and there was a regional event for Southern California where we got to spend the day with him. Why am I telling you that? Because he shared so many perspectives on leadership, the market of the moment, what's going on now. And that's what we're going to look at today is the confidence it takes in this market to keep growing and doing the things we need to do to succeed. And then the closings, that's what we're all here for, right? We're working to help people close business and buy and sell real estate. And so today's conversation will be just that. How do we build our confidence? How do we build our closings? What we'll figure out that's fun is that one leads to more of the other. And they're actually really well connected. So let's start off. Does anybody have any buckets to fill today as we get started here in the wild world of real estate? I don't have the big view up. Let me look at whose faces I can actually see. Oh, hi, faces. Okay. Remember the rule, if your face is available, I'd love to see it. If you're naked or driving, please keep your video up. But otherwise, we want to see it. And I saw Alicia just pop off the screen. Alicia, I want to fill your bucket, Coach Alicia. Alicia has been part of the coaching group that's been spearheading this 30-60-90 program, which any of you throw in the chat a little me or a yes if you're in there with the coaches group doing 30-60-90. And the whole coaching team is doing an excellent job. The reality is what Jacqueline and I realized yesterday is we throw a lot at Alicia as far as new agents and meetings and getting everyone onboarded. And yesterday it was just brought to our attention that we are thankful for you and the way you show up and all you do for our people. So thank you, Alicia, for tolerating the madness that might come out of my brain and the stability in the systems that come out of Jacqueline's, because together we make an actually really strong team. Anybody else have a bucket to fill or a thought to share, something that's happening in your life or in real estate business in the past week or so? Is this thing on? Can you guys hear me? Hello? Hello?
I have a bucket. I just want to fill a bucket for Chris Spade. I saw him yesterday, and the specifics of what triggered this thought don't really matter. But what I appreciate about Chris is that he's willing to give feedback to the leadership team on how we can help, how we can get better, how we can help all of you as agents. And there was just some things that Chris said yesterday that I hadn't heard in the way he was saying it. And I feel like Chris has always been one of those agents that shows up and gives feedback and helps us figure out how to be even better at helping you be better. So thank you, Chris.
Thank you indeed. Thank you, Jacqueline, for that. All right. If anybody else has something to fill or share, throw a hand up and I'll get to you. I never want to overlook them. That did happen once recently, and I hate that feeling. So if you do have a bucket to fill or something to share, throw your hand up or DM me in the chat and I'll make sure we get to you. And otherwise, I will make sure we move on to cover all of our topics today. Evie, did you want to hit on celebrations and slides for that?
Yeah, sure. Let me share my screen here. Just a huge congratulations to all of our October production rock stars. Can you all see it? Sarah, can you see
we
these?
We can, yep. Yep.
Okay, so these are all of our rock stars for the month of October, our top 15 for the month, the top 10 individuals year to date. Let me go to the next screen. Top 3 teams year to date for Metro, top 3 groups for Metro, and then for our KW Signature family, our top 3 agents, congratulations. as well as our top 3 individuals year to date and top group year to date, as well as the agents that closed over $1 million for the month of October. Lots and lots and lots of huge congrats to everybody.
There's so much goodness that's existing in those slides, y'all. So congratulations to everyone who's on there. Also, I know I saw Carrie Miller in the number 2 spot for the month, and I want to just pull her out of the woodwork for that because, oftentimes we see the top 10 or top 15, and we see a lot of the same usual suspects that pop up on there. And every once in a while we throw in a different one and a new one. And what I want you guys to see in Carrie is not that she's not brand new. She didn't just start yesterday. But she's not someone who's on the top year to date all the time or consistently. And where I want you to notice her success in the month and what happened is that everyone can see themselves hitting whatever the goal they're looking to hit based on the work you're doing, right? So understand that on those top lists, there's always room for new people. There's always room for you to pop in there. And every month you get a new chance to help people fulfill their dreams and work your hardest in your business. Did anybody see the pivot shift ahead link I threw in the Facebook group this morning with the link to today's session? Alicia, you did. If you did, throw notes in the chat and I'll pop to them as we go on. I'm going to get to that when we get into the confidence and closings part, but everything is possible. And that's what I want you guys to hear. There is a lot of noise out there with the lawsuits and the questions and the blah, blah, blah. And at the end of the day, your job is your business and yourself. And there's so much good possible. And that's where I want you to focus your energy. Okay. So trainings and events coming up. We are closed this Friday for Veterans Day. That means that you should have your key codes and passes available for the signature office or the metro office, whichever one you belong to, that you're going to need to access without the staff being in person. It does not mean you cannot go there. It just means that no one's going to be there to open the door for you. So keep that in mind for this Friday, Veterans Day, and thank you to all our veterans. And then we have family reunion coming up. Early bird pricing ends the 14th. I thought it was the 16th, but I don't know what day it is most days this week. So the 14th, you guys, that was extended, and it's vitally important that you understand they won't keep pushing that. It will stop. I know we have over 8,000 already enrolled or signed up for attendance. It is in Vegas. It is at the Mandalay Bay Convention Center. Do not go to book your hotel room before you book your family reunion ticket, because when you book your ticket, it gives you a link to access all these discounted prices. So you're going to want to book your ticket first and then book your hotel. Remember this, last year it was in Anaheim. It doesn't get closer than that until one day they put something in San Diego, but it's going to have to be small because our convention center is small. The next closest place it can be is Las Vegas. So you could drive there, you could carpool, you could rent a Sprinter and go drive yourself. You could rent it. I mean, there's so many ways to do it and make it fun. Or you can hop on one of those flights. It's like $40 and be there in a minute. It's close and it's amazing. Mel Robbins is the guest speaker keynote confirmed, and there are other keynotes coming. I mean, who is excited to see Mel Robbins in real life in person? I am. If you don't know who she is, then stay tuned to the book list to come after today's meeting for more suggestions on confidence and closings. Okay.
And Sarah, just to add on to that one, so the earlier you do your registration, also the hotel discount is always not going to last. That fills up very, very quickly. So the sooner you book your registration, the sooner you have links to the discount for hotels. So take advantage of that.
Yeah, and the best ones book fastest, right? So there's lots of hotels in Vegas. You won't not have a room in the city. You just might not be where you want to be if you don't get your ticket soon. We will go ahead and pull the list. I haven't looked at it lately to see who's going from our group, but I'll make sure you guys see it loud and clear who's already signed up, who's coming. I can't explain exactly how. We will get to a panel about it in the future. It will change your life and your business and all the things going to experience family reunion in real life. That much I can promise you. Okay, and then next week we have Market Stats with Ashley in person only, and it will be our Thanksgiving potluck as well that day. So noon 30. Potluck will be noon 30 to 1:30, and then Market Stats will follow right after. And Evie will post all the goodness about potlucking and how we make sure that that happens and we don't bring 14 turkeys or 4,000 pounds of mashed potatoes.
And we will cover the desserts, so please do just bring in no desserts, maybe not. We will take care of the desserts. Just appetizers or a main dish would be amazing. So it's not all just a full table of desserts. So thank you very much.
All the cupcakes forever. Okay. And since it's my meeting topic today, I am behind. So Joe Guidi, I do apologize for being late. And please take it away. We all know Joe sells insurance. Joe Guidi is one of our strategic marketing partners and has the best information and deals for us always. I'm sure the props will start lighting up in the chat, Joe, but I do see you off mute. So go ahead, my friend.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I hope you guys are having a successful week. And it's been quite a wild ride this year in the insurance industry, as many of you know. Many of the carriers have left California, and we're left with just a few that will write. And in San Diego, it seems like the majority of the homes are in what we call fire zones now, because all the lines have been redrawn. So we're up against the California Fair Plan, which in many instances is less expensive. So it's not a bad word, and it's nothing to really be afraid of. For example, I just purchased a home in El Cajon, and it was more in Fletcher Hills. It's not even near a canyon, and the only company that would write it would be the California Fair Plan. But the California Fair Plan bundled with the difference in conditions policy was only like $1,500. It was super cheap. So, I mean, I consider that cheap by today's standards. So I thought I'd just open it up to questions. If anybody had any questions for me about the market and anything specific that you may want to know.
I have a question, Joe. This is Bridget Potterton. I'm curious as to, and I don't even know if this is in your wheelhouse, but like with HO6 policies, with condo complexes, what are you seeing as far as renewal issues? I know there was a couple complexes in the county that had an issue, but overall, I haven't heard much about that. Are you seeing most of them still getting renewed, or what are you seeing?
Well, again, it depends on the carrier, but we are seeing a lot of cancellations across the board. I mean, it seems like I've probably rewritten half of my book of business this year. It's just been craziness. HO6 still an issue. If it's in a fire zone, you would have to go with the California Fair Plan and a difference in conditions policy. Often they're relatively inexpensive. I just wrote one recently, and the Fair Plan was like $195, something like that. And then the difference in conditions was about $700, so $900. I don't consider that a lot of money for insurance for a condo in today's market.
Joe, I have a question. This is Robert, the managing broker.
Hey, Robert.
Have you heard about Cal Fire going out and making spot visits at homes and discussing with the homeowner about home hardening and needing to do some stuff? I know, and my mom lives in Northern California, and they have actually visited her home.
Did they randomly pick her? Did she know they were going to come? Did she invite them, or?
She did no clue. They just showed up one day.
I have not heard of that. I do know that the Fair Plan here in San Diego is they along with every other company are doing inspections now. So before it was kind of hit and miss. Sometimes it would just be an inspection where they would send you a list of questions that you would have to answer. But now literally there's an inspector that goes out to every new policy that's written, and they look around, and they are being very critical about stuff. They do not want anything up against the house. They want to make sure the roof is in good shape, no trees hanging over the house. So, things that we thought were beautiful at one time, where there's a lot of foliage, is not allowed now. People are having to cut down trees that are, large and old, that maybe have a canopy that's hanging over the home.
He's actually in Northern California, right in a small town called Wairika, which is right by the Oregon border. So
Mhm.
they are really privy with forest fires. But it's a good thing for agents. If you guys are listening to this, you should be reaching out as a touch to all your homeowners and owners and talk to them about making sure that they pay their insurance
Mhm.
and they
Yeah.
don't let it lapse, because they will get it canceled, and just have a conversation with them.
That's great advice, because they will cancel and they will not rewrite.
Yeah.
You know, they're keeping some of the carriers are keeping the policies. One of the biggest ones that has moved out of California is Guard, Berkshire Hathaway, Guard, and they are, you know, everybody's canceled. So it's been difficult to rewrite a lot of those, especially the commercial ones they have some really good pricing on commercial products, like you know, 4, 6-plex, 8-plex, 16-plexes. And now we're having to go to the surplus lines market to find coverage for those.
I see that Amy put in the chat. Amy Bloom says that they're hitting her in El Cerrito. So good time to go and call your sphere of influence and talk to them. It's a great touch, but it's a good idea to reach out to them, just have a conversation.
Yeah, and also keep in mind, you know, even I am a broker, right? And I have my own escrow going. I mean, not real estate broker, but insurance broker. And you know, I started this process 2 weeks ago, and I still don't have a policy yet that I could send to my mortgage company. Everybody's freaking out. You know, they're like, "We need to close this," and I'm like, "We'll get it when we get it." I mean, right now, the Fair Plan just changed systems. They're on a new portal. Their portals is new, and their payment portal's been down for a week. So people are literally having to send in checks. Besides, you know, when you quoted it taking 5 to 7 days to get back. So it's something you really have to plan ahead for now. It's not like the old days where you can call me and, hey, I can have you a policy in an hour. It's just not like that anymore.
That is a lot going on, Joe. Thank you for bringing the updates and opening for questions. Does anybody else have any other questions for Joe? Thank you for being here. Thanks for being a trusted partner. Thanks for sharing your own real life experience. And did I just hear a voice? Or is that just inside my head? Okay.
Thanks so much, everybody, for your time. Hope you guys have a great week.
Yeah, and we'll drop your contact info again in the chat, Joe, so that if people
Thanks so
do have
much.
questions they don't want to ask in the group, they will contact you offline. We appreciate you.
Cool. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Bye.
All right, you guys. It's what Robert has been telling us for a while. When you're getting those escrows going, make sure you're getting your insurance dialed in right away, because it's not doom and gloom. It's just reality, and the world is evolving and you're evolving with it. So Movement Mortgage Friends, who is speaking today?
It's me. It looks like I'm the last man standing. Hold on. Now I could talk.
And now you and Robert match each other top and bottom.
I just need some hair to stick out of here. I'll keep it short and sweet. Rates the last week, they've gotten a little better. Yeah, rates. You know, that's better than worse they have been in 20 years. So we'll take better these days. I can't do this for too long. Also, trying to think outside the box due to lack of inventory. Renovation loans, HECM reverse mortgage loans. We're doing them in house. Also, I just got a 12-month bank statement loan approved. So if you have a self-employed borrower that maybe 2021 wasn't the greatest year, but 22 and 23 they really came back strong, there's definitely ways to get them approved. So let us know. Also, on a side note, if you put good vibes out there for our man Eddie, he kind of hurt his back, so he's been out of commission for the last couple of days. Good vibes are always appreciated on that fact. We're always here for you. Give us a shout. You know, love to be a resource, love to bounce any ideas, be a second pair of eyes, whatever we could do to help you guys in your business going forwards. Let us know. Yes, we do HELOCs all day long. I didn't see what the other chat was.
What about HE loans?
HE loans.
They're like fixed rate HELOCs for 30 years.
Let me get back to you on HE loans.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, but we definitely have Figure HELOC in-house, and it's kind of a pick your own program. It as you do the application, it does only a soft poll, ask you questions as far as your credit, and then allows you to kind of pick your terms as far as your rate, your payment plan, and how you want to repay this thing. Again, the HE loans I'll get back to you on. What else do I have? That's about it. Again, good vibes. We're here for you. Let us know how we could help. Always a good time. Thank you.
Matt, what is today's rate if you just Googled it?
If you just Googled it, I'll do you one better. Hold on 1 second. I'll share it in the chat bar. And all of you folks, if you have a second, should download this to your mobile device. It is free. And it's Mortgage News Daily. And today, 7.41 in the most perfect scenario is kind of where we're at.
Yeah, because I saw like 8.3 something if you
Right,
were.
yeah. A week ago, it was in the 8s. So that's good news.
Look at that. That's winning. All right, you guys. Thanks, Matt. You know, again, we're dealing in reality. We're not in snowflakes and gumdrops here. We are dealing in reality. All right, Alicia, let's give the coaching magic moments, please.
Magic moments. So Sara, earlier you were talking about celebrations and opportunities, and I think we have a slide on this, but there is somebody very special who's on the leaderboard every week. Sam actually ended up leaving his full-time management career of 25 years to dive full-time into real estate.
Woo!
That is awesome.
I'm so proud of these guys. You have no idea.
Oh, I love
And Sam and Yanni actually just closed with a buyer yesterday. Of course, they're up here every week. And is there any more, Evie? I wasn't sure.
I think that's it. That's it.
Okay, then off to BB for broker updates.
Hold on. Let's just double down on that really quick. I did not see Sam on here, but I did see Yanni in there in Peggy's square box. So I want to make sure you're hearing it and seeing it. And Alicia, I heard your sweet heart popping through your voice there. So thank you all for caring so much. And congratulations to you guys as a team for doing all the great work. It really, and talk about that, you guys. I know I'm off the rails today. You're talking about, are the rates too high? Is the market whatever? Now you're having the news of Sam just stepped away from his 25-year career because they're finding such success in real estate. Everything is possible, right? Focus and intentionality. There's Yanni. I see you. Hi. Congrats, you guys. Okay, Robert, now you can talk.
Well, it's so nice to see Alicia emotional, and that's a sign of a great coach because she really has compassion and passion for what she does as a coach. And when she sees changes that agents are making in their life for the better, it's just all the better. Usually the only time I see Alicia cry is when I make her. But anyway, hey, happy Wednesday, everybody. Alicia, I already cried once today about this. It's so nice. Wish I could be there to see you have some tears. Okay. Am I doing oh, do you have the slide?
Of course I do.
Year one. Pop that up on the screen.
Got
So guess what, everybody? You'd heard Sara talking about this wonderful 30-60-90 program we're doing, and as part of it, we're doing what's called a Power Day. A Power Day is an opportunity to do some lead generation if you haven't been doing any. So we have it scheduled for November 17th. That's a Friday. And everybody's able to participate in this. We'd like to invite the entire office, even if you're not in Power Day, or I'm sorry, 30-60-90. I've just put into the link a sign-up sheet. And all you basically have to do is just do a day of lead generation. We're going to kick it off with some breakfast burritos early in the morning on the 17th. And we have pretty much timeframes for people in our 30-60-90. If you'd like to participate, we'd like to see you. We do need to have a head count if you're going to come and eat a burrito. So make sure you at least register for that as well. Okay, so that's Friday, November 17th. Starting time is what time, Alicia? Because I got to remember California time.
9:30.
9:30, kickoff time in the training room. All right. A number of people have been reaching out to me because you're already getting questions from your principals, whether it be buyer or seller, about the NAR lawsuit. So I put a little document together that I just want to send out. I think the important part to remember is, as Sara said earlier, is not freak out, but you are being asked. And so here's my recommendation. This is still in litigation and it'll probably be appealed. So just be prepared for that. If you're getting answered questions, nothing's changed yet. But you need to, and I'm putting into the chat my statement and advice. It's a pretty long statement in there. Let me just share it on my screen because it's important that I go through some stuff that's important because you're getting a lot of these questions already. I want to make sure most of the people that are here today have been at our meetings to hear us explain it. The ones that are calling me are the ones that never show up to the meeting, and then I got to take my time explaining things to them, but that's their fault for not showing up. Hold on one second. I'm trying to get into the thing. There it is. Now I'll share my screen. Okay. So on my statement that I've sent to you guys in the chat box, can everybody see that? First and foremost, KW has put out a statement, and that's the very first thing. So I want you to read that, highlighted in the blue. Read for the agent section. It's really important you read that. For listing agents, I know you're already being asked about, do I need to pay a buyer broker? Well, this is going to be a skill-based market moving forward, and now you're really going to have to articulate your value. So I put a little bit of information in there. And finally, as we are moving into this potential of having, probably buyers will now be under a buyer broker agreement. And that's where we're moving. And so CAR's preparing for this. The new BRBC that came out, the most recent one, was specifically designed for this. But knowing how to use it is important because there's going to be a time where you're going to end up that there will probably be zero offer of compensation in the MLS for a buyer's agent. And if you've already created agency, you might be working for free unless you have that buyer broker worked out on how you're going to get paid. So there's a class that CAR is putting out. It's free through the end of the year. I have the link in this document that I sent you. All you got to do is click on it. And then also NAR and CAR has put out the very last statement is 184, a lot of ways that it will help you articulate your value. So you need to understand how to articulate your value, but also how to present that to your principals. But the most important here is this is going to be a skill-based market moving forward. It's going to be more skill-based by learning how to understand how to read the documents that you're having them sign, but also understand how to explain it to them. Believe it or not, I have top agents in our office that don't even know how to explain the residential listing agreement, yet they make a lot of money every year. So I just want to make sure that if you've not come to a contract training, you start attending that. And I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm just working to prepare you guys to where the market industry will probably be going once this all flushes out. But we're going to prepare for that now so that we have a leg up with everybody else that's out there in the industry. We'll probably see a 20 to 40% attrition in the business. And we want to make sure that you guys are here to capture that business that's going to be remaining. Back to you, Sarah.
Thank you, BB. And the most important parts of all that is, again, it's the knowledge is power, and the cliches are cliches because they're real, right? Knowledge is power. You just have to be aware of the conversation. It isn't ultimately changing anything in your business today. And yet many of you have told me that it's come up in listing appointments and conversations already. So while nothing's changed, it's just a matter of you have to be aware to have the conversation and answer the questions. And this ties directly into confidence and closings, you guys. I went around in my brain a lot about how to deliver this information to you the best way. And I want to mostly keep it as a conversation. I'm going to share my screen a couple of times, but can you guys just drop in the chat box, yes, or me, or why, or whatever you want to write. If you feel like your confidence has been shaken this year and you're not really the most certain about what to do going forward, like, do you relate to that? Until I see letters in the chat box, I can't move forward. Okay. So, you know, I did some research last night, and it has been a challenging year, Dan, and we're going to keep this conversation going through the end of the year, not in a dismal woe is me way, right? In a, okay, that's reality. Now, what are we doing to make our brains stay tuned in and keep going forward. I keep telling everyone the two things we can control are our mindset and our actions. Nothing else is in your control. So what are you reading? I will be sharing my reading list on the Facebook page after this. Melinda dropped off a bunch of books yesterday to share in there. 3 of them are of my top favorite list books always. Compound Effect, Outliers, and Tipping Point, right? And The Happiness Advantage is in there. There's so many good books. If you aren't a reader and you're like, I don't even know what you're talking about, I haven't read a book since I tried to read one in high school, and even then I didn't really do it. Audible is a great resource. And if there's books we're talking about that you think like, oh, I'd like to learn about that, the reality is you can go to YouTube and search the book title and put the word summary after it, and you're going to get a 10 to 30 minute summary from someone who's breaking it down on lots of things. Gap in the Gain is my all-time favorite book of life right now, because if you are an overachiever, which many real estate agents are naturally, like doers, overachievers, you know, never settled, always shopping, always looking for the next goal, the next thing. The Gap in the Gain talks about we are built to live in the gap. We're always saying like, okay, I closed 10 this year. Now next year I want to close 20. Now next year I want to close 40. Now next year I want to close. You're always looking at the next thing. And so you're never there. You've never arrived. You've never achieved your goal because you're always resetting your goal for the next thing. I mean, when I listened to this book on Audible, my brain was like, yep, that's it. And everyone I've shared it with has had so many things to say. So the gain is where you look at the moment and go, okay, I did this. And you look backwards and measure backwards. Look how far we've come. Look what I've gained. And you saturate yourself with those wins as you move on. I couldn't begin to do the book justice in the rest of this call, even if I spent 28 minutes talking about it. Audible is amazing. The physical copy is amazing. And if you feel like that's, for some people, I know that might be overwhelming, go to YouTube, type the title, type summary, and like let it start pouring into you that way. David Goggins' books are 2 of the best Audible books by far. Yep. What's the one title, Vinny, that's like the most famous, do you think? Which 2 are you talking about? You're gonna type.
Let me get it. I'll pull my thing with that.
Okay. So it's really, I'm going to share my list on the Facebook page after this. If anybody else has their favorites and they want to share, we can help each other learn like where to focus our mental space energy with what we're reading and how we're learning there. Another really strong one for people is Kendra Hall, Change Your Story, Change Your Life. Some people have gotten to a certain place in life where they think they keep, you know, they've told their story in their mind over and over and over again. How can you change your story? It's really all up to you to change your life going forward. So like I said, we'll have the whole list. So what you're reading, what you're feeding your brain, this might be unpopular opinion. I'm going to just say it. Stop watching the news, please. Stop watching the news, please. Stop watching the news, please. You may read the news. If you're like, I don't care, I'm going to watch the news, fine. But I can't be held responsible for the things that flash in your face that you can't control, and now it's in your brain and you can never get it out. Stop watching the news. Stop letting the media will program your brain with what it wants you to think about. Does that sound awesome? No, I don't think so. To be clear, the moment I learned this in the early 2000s, when I started and went to Mike Ferry seminars, and he was like, you wake up, you watch the news. Now the world has changed since then. There was no Netflix at this time. I'm older than Google. So you wake up, you watch the news. The evening news exists, the world news exists, all the other things. You were programmed to bookend your day with news. How much of the news stream is positivity, joy, happy stories? Versus how much of the news stream is death, destruction, murder, war, horrible things? It's literally, if you want to watch the news, go search the Good News Movement, follow them on Instagram, stuff like that. That can be your news. You can go to, for people who can't stop themselves, do something like NPR where you're reading it. Do something like BBC where you're reading it and it's not programming your brain for all the terrible things, because nothing good comes from that. What are you eating? I'm not here to tell you how to, I'm not a nutritionist. I won't play one on Zoom. And it matters, right? Are you fueling your body? Are you drinking your water? Are you moving? I know for me, if I spend the day sitting at the desk because I'm in back-to-back meetings, I have to stand up and move to like stand-up mode sometimes, eat more pizza while I work out. I agree. I think pizza's delicious. So it's that, like, you know, if you're staying up too late and eating crap and drinking too much and doing all those things, then you wake up and you put on the news and you go into this weird slump cycle and you're like, I feel like crap. Why is that true? Let's look at what's happening in our life, right? So what you're feeding your brain, I will tell you, is more important than anything else, and who you surround yourself with. You have 50 people on here right now. You have, find your 5 in your life. Look around you and find your 5. Who are your 5 people in real estate business? If it's in the office and you want someone to coach, mentor, grow you, reach out to one of us. We will help you, answer you, get you dialed in, right? In your personal life, in your family life. Has anyone ever read this story of the balcony? And sometimes people need to be put in the balcony, or heard me give that story before? Okay, so in addition to finding your 5, it's like who you surround yourself with matters. Everyone's heard that. You are the result of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if you look around yourself and you're surrounded with a bunch of party animals, are you more likely to be a party animal? Yeah. If you're surrounded with success, they say your net work defines your net worth, right? So the 5 people you surround yourself with do influence you on a very large scale. So whether it's physical health, business life, personal life, key relationships, look around and see who they are. If you can think of 5 amazing humans that you know and get to immerse yourself with, that's amazing. If you can't, think about what area you want them to be in, and then let's find them for you. The business counterpart is super important in this moment, because of the way it's moved to skill-based market so completely. And I'll pause on that for a second, because we could say, isn't it always skill-based? Yes, and right. And the speed of the market during COVID, where we went from we'll never sell real estate again to, oh my gosh, we can't keep a listing for 7 seconds. The skill, it was really more a matter of like, did you have the best contract in front of that person at the right time that you wanted? When there's 40 offers, there's not a ton of skill necessarily going involved there. Whereas now you have to have the skills to understand the conversations with your clients, whether the buyers or sellers, and how you're working with them. Okay, so to that end, as far as building your confidence, we have put together a list of, you guys, this is going to sound ridiculous when I say it to you, I promise, and it's okay. It is the 8 attributes or things necessary to make you the most professional agent you can be, right? It's our list of 8 that we've come up with, and I'm happy to have you guys add to it if you hear it and you're like, oh my gosh, what about this? You forgot that? Great, put that on your list as well, okay? So the list of 8 is knowledge of forms and contracts, which was what Robert was just talking about, right? Knowledge of the current market, be the local economist of choice. We give you that because Robert does the contracts with Mark once a month. We go over broker stuff and meetings. Once a month, Ashley goes over market stats. It's next Wednesday. We're giving you number 1 and number 2 so far. Number 3 is your presentation skill set for all client types. That's buyer clients and seller clients. What other client types could it be? What other client types could we have besides buyers and sellers? Okay, they could all technically fall into that category. And no, I'm not talking about renters, but what other client types could there be that you're going to build for? Investors. Thank you, Maggie. Maggie, you win a prize. I don't know what it is yet, but you win one. And what is the 4th kind of client that I could be thinking of right now that you were going to make sure, if this was your wheelhouse, like Nikki Francis maybe would have this skill set in her package? Commercial, yay! Okay, so your collateral, Gene Rivers would always say, show me your collateral and I'll show you your value and your worth. So in the speed market, the collateral, the buyer presentation, the listing presentation, the investor presentation, all those things were less important because speed mattered most, right? Now that we're in this market, your data matters most on all levels. And you're like, is this dealing with confidence in closings? I'm confused. Yes, it is. Because if you have all the things prepared, you have the confidence to move through the market, right? The next thing is your unique value proposition. A little birdie told me that in Gary's top agent group this week, that he had the top agents pull together their unique value propositions, meaning when you sit down with buyers, what do you do? When you sit down with sellers, what do you do? And KW International did turn around and give us the follow-up boss to command, import, translate your database. One-pager playbook. So if anyone has follow-up boss and needs that to get their stuff out of there because blah, 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 let me know. We have that. The unique value proposition, we will have a class on the calendar, right, Jacqueline? Jacqueline's excited about that one. And we will tell you guys, here's an outline. Here's how you're going to build it for yourself. And what Gary told the group in person was everyone got together and worked on it. And Bridget, I'm not giving away the farm, right? This will be public knowledge. And then KWRI will take this, just like they built the playbooks from the top 200 groups. The unique value proposition will be done the same way. KWRI will give out a template, a sample, an idea for how we're going to use it. So do you have to wait till you get that to have yours? Nope. Some of you have it already. I've seen them. All that means is really the simplest way to define it is, why would you work with me? Why would you pay me? What is my unique value that I bring to the table, right? The fifth thing, and this one's going to sound crazy, is that you use written agreements. And these are the 7 things to make you the most professional real estate agent you can be, okay? Use written agreements, because in some places people are still trying to do like verbals, and that's insane. And Broker Bob, California, it's like not even a thing here. 6 is you're going to set up your systems and strategic partnerships, and we'll go more into that on the list, and I'll have outlines available for you. And 7 is your customer service is consistent and your communication is consistent. And I know you don't need to write them down. You'll have the list. It's all coming to you. I'm telling you these pieces because we all want to be professional agents here, right? And the realization of the beauty of being an entrepreneur is that you can do it any way you want within the rules, right? The troubling side of being an entrepreneur is that you can do it any way you want. And so for some people, that leaves your brain in like a mucky mess middle place. So if we're teaching our brains what to think, we're fueling it with the right words and energies. We're not putting the garbage in that makes you think like the world's exploding, because your world is the most important part, right? And I'm not saying be obtuse to the world at large. Be a good human on the planet. Just don't feed your brain that morning, noon, and night, right? Your 5 people, your books, etc. That's going to be the start of your confidence. The last thing about the confidence, and then looking at it, I found like lists from Forbes and all these different places. And the last thing is the action. Confidence is built by taking action and seeing your results. Who has felt better on a day when you did your job versus the day when you like sat on the couch all day and were like, I'm just going to watch one more episode of Suits? I mean, I might have watched a few episodes last night. I'm not saying binging Netflix isn't fun. It might be part of your mental health when the time is right, right? When you do your job, and it's a joke with, my leadership team that like, I always just say hashtag do your job. And I don't mean it tongue in cheek. And it's like, you feel better about yourself when you do your job. So when you show up and know what to do and do the work, do the activities, what can we control? Mindset and actions. Actions are activities. So why does power prospecting exist on the calendar Mondays and Wednesdays from now forever? Because I'm holding a space for you to show up and do your job. I actually was thinking about changing the name to Do Your Job. The Do Your Job blog. I put the Pivot Shift Ahead call link on our Facebook page this morning because today's call happened to be about an agent who, I couldn't have planned this, you guys. I did not call James Shaw and ask him to make this today's call. today's call was an agent who has felt horrible, behind, emailed James and said, I'm so glad all these agents show up on the pivot call and have all this success and great things to share, but I can't pay my bills right now, and I feel totally overwhelmed by the market and what's happening. And he said, so she in August started attending the pivot shift ahead calls. And all she did was start working, making her contacts, talking to people. She has 1 closing, 3 scheduled to close more before the end of the year, and 9 in her pipeline, I want to say, right? And she said you listen to the call. I promise you listen to it. I'm giving you the tidbits. And
She
I'm sure
also has a listing. Don't
What?
forget about that. She also has a listing, an active listing.
she has an active listing. That's the one I'm thinking of. It's the active listing in process, and then the other ones that are pending. You already listened to it, Alicia. Alicia, what would you say from a coaching perspective was your biggest reason why people need to go listen to that call?
So one thing that she said was just give yourself 30 days. Like just show up and do it for 30 days. Anything you do now is going to show up 90 days from now. So what James was kind of reiterating to her was that the reason why there wasn't any closings in like the June, July, August was because she wasn't working in the March, April, May. So that's why she didn't have any closings. Now that she started showing up to this meeting every day in August, now what? It's August, September, October, November, 90 days. Now all of this stuff is happening, and she's going to have multiple closings by the end of the year. And she was saying that she wasn't even able to pay her bills, yet she was working, but she kind of wasn't working. She thought she was, but she wasn't. So she decided to actually show up and do the work for 30 days. And now all her fruits are coming.
I love that.
So just work.
It's do your job. Well, and I say that tongue in cheek, and the reality is a lot of people don't know what that means when we get down to it, right? What does that mean? So if you're not in coaching, if you don't have a coach internally or anywhere, and you guys, this is not just for brand new agents, this is for every level of agent. Everyone is coming and going like, I feel like I'm doing this, but here's my results and here's where I am. Whether you're ahead or behind, it just feels different now. And I want to show you why it feels different now before I go off the rails for the rest of the 15 minutes. This is something we talked about yesterday. So you can see my slide up there. Yes. No. Am I sharing my screen? I'm not. Am I?
Yes, you are.
Thank you. Okay, this is from Mega Camp. It has been updated a little bit yesterday, but I did not get my hands on the slides from yesterday, so this is good enough. And I will tell you, home sales annually. We were projecting to end at 4.3 million. And if we look at this little dotted line, the last time we were at 4.3 million was in 2011. Yesterday's conversation says the updates from, which Bridget, you would have just seen them with Gary, is now closer to 4.1 million is the projection for the end of the year. So 4.1 million is going back to 2008. Before that, it was 1995. This is not scare tactic. No one here needs to sell more than 4 million houses, right? There's more than enough transactions in San Diego to feed everyone's goals here. What I want you to see is it feels different because it is different, right? 2 million less closings nationally feels different, okay? So do your job and let's keep doing all the things. And this part, and this might feel like, is this confidence building? It's confidence building because it's awareness around the whole picture. So this page, I marked them so I don't waste time going down the rabbit hole. Home prices annually. We are still right in the same projection. This is still exactly the same. So are they above or below? Oh my God, they're so inflated. Are they? This is nationally. We can use our market stats that actually gives us to have the local conversation. You can also use the national conversation to show this pretty slide over time about where the trend line should be and where we are. We're only 7% above trend right now. Okay. And then mortgage rates over time, page 26. the projection, the where we were in August, the where we are now. This is the historical average from the history of always. Okay. So when you look at just, I want you to have these slides and this knowledge base, because this builds your confidence. Because when you look at these slides and you can go show this to someone and explain it to them, that gives you the confidence to be the local market expert, to be the economist of choice, to understand. It feels weird because it is weird. But the reality is all these years of interest rates were too low for too long, and it's not sustainable, right? And the great thing is, if you go back and look at how many homes sold in the history of time, homes were selling forever. This happened. He told the story yesterday of a $90,000 loan that needed a 13-point buy down to get the deal closed. Okay. So just saying, we're not there. Okay. No one's buying down 13 points and like everything's possible. So I don't show you those slides to freak you out. I'm saying like, that's your confidence. When you know what you're talking about, you know what you're doing, you have the confidence. I've mentioned before the playbook, and I've said, I really don't think everyone should have the playbook in their hand that has 171 pages of resources, because it's too much and it's overwhelming. What I would love, if you don't know what to do for your job, if you don't know who you're calling and what you're doing, send me an email. I think you all have my email, but I'm just going to drop it in there right now and tell me I don't know what I'm doing. And we will bucket you into the right place and help you discover, is it strangers? Is it people you know? Is it open houses? Is it blah, 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 blah? Like what is it? Because if you know what to do, then you're empowered to take the actions to do your job daily. If you know what to do, you can go take the actions. If you're feeding your brain and you're doing the right things, and go to the pivot shift ahead call, you guys, it's at 4:30 in the morning if you're on live. That's the pre-show. That's because they're East Coast. Okay. Maybe you're a morning animal and you want to be on there live. That's your jam. I'm not on there live, but they record it and it lives in the Facebook page forever. Our very own Erica West is like a pivot shift group hero and person in there all the time, right? There's just so much value. You're going to hear from agents who tell their stories, to give you ideas all the time. And those recordings live there. They're in there forever. That's your daily conversation. I posted this on the Facebook page. It should be the pivot shift ahead page, because they're going to have an agent who's doing something and showing success and giving the plan. When you go to the files section, whatever their plan details are will be in there. They have it in there. And then Mondays and Wednesdays, I'm holding that do your job time open, power prospecting. One of the people who came on Monday said, thank you so much for holding this time open for me. I just did the most action in one block of time I've ever done since I've been a real estate agent. It's just a time to come do your job together, right? It's not scary. I won't bite you. I'm going to just leave that there. And I do want to say about the interest rates, because it does get a little overwhelming. I've heard it before, and I just heard it again in the private chat to me. It is said that we won't be below 5% again in our lifetime. You have no reason to believe interest rates will ever go below 5% again. Why do we say that? Let's just look for a second. Here's 5.97%. Okay. So how long were they above 82, 92, 02? I mean, 35, like forever. When they went below 6% in 2002-ish, it was right when I got licensed. It was a very big deal. And it was like money was no free. So just understand that this whole marry the house, date the rate, blah, blah, blah. Yes, and there's a lot of room between 8 and 5. I'm going to wait for 2.5. Okay, well, that's likely coming never. So don't be that agent. Don't say that. Don't project that. We don't know that. And the reality is, based on historical numbers, why do we ever think they would be that low again? How long were they above it, right? That's not doomsday. That's looking at a chart and reading it. Yes, Robert is going to see them below 5 when he's 150. And I hope more of us are there for that too. Okay, so getting into work, getting into mindset, getting into actions. You can only control your mindset and your actions. We're going to be sharing these resources like we've been, the pivot group, listen to the call, the reading list. How do I ask the questions and come together? Who are your 5 people, right? Who's holding that space for you? And then like Chris and Maria were just sharing a great story with me and the team yesterday where they went and did door knocking together. Like individually, neither one of them wanted to go do this thing. Chris, do you want to share anything about that? I see your face, so no pressure.
Well, I mean, I brought this up to them yesterday, and I just was being very authentic and honest. I mean, I have to disagree a little bit with what Alicia said about that call specifically, because there are a lot of us showing up doing the work, and this year is a lot more difficult. It's the most difficult year I've had in 17 years, and it's no joke. And I get up every day at 4:30 in the morning. I get up every single day and I work my ass off, and I have had the most challenging year. And so I think that, and I know there are a lot of people in this office that have done the same thing, because last week somebody just walked in my office and started crying, and I know that person works their ass off too. I know that. And so I told my coach, and she even admitted California is kind of the Wild West, right? Like we're a lot different. Where I was on a Zoom call today where this guy's like, I listed 37 FISBOs this year, and I'm texting a friend of mine in LA going, shit, there are 37 in the entire year in this county. So, what works in some areas is not working in others, and we are very unique. But the one thing that I've always done that I can honestly say I've done is I've shown up. But the days I've not wanted to show up, Maria and I have been working together, because I probably wouldn't show up because I'm burned, that, pardon my French, the fuck out. I'm burned out, and I've not taken one vacation this year. I've not, I've barely taken any time off this year, and that's not healthy. Not to mention that I had the stress of planning a wedding, and I told Sarah yesterday, and Jacqueline was standing there with Ashley, and I said, when I got engaged in March, most people take a year to plan this, and I was like, fuck it, let's just do it this year. And in my head, because I always say this, it's absolutely impossible for me not to sell houses. It's impossible for me not to sell houses. Have I sold houses this year? Of course I have, but I'm 50% down, which means everything's down. And thank God I had a savings account, but now it's dwindled. And do I have listings? Yes. Do I have potential business popping soon? Yes. It still concerns me, and I will be honest, and I told Jacqueline and everybody that was there, it's like my confidence, one of the most confident people on the planet, has been eroded slightly this year, and I fully admit that. And so yeah, it's just been stressful. So Marie and I have been working together. We're actually going out the next 2 days. I've got my hit list in front of me, and that's all I do. I show up. So I know there's a lot of you in here who are showing up, because I see it, and I see the tears on your face. I see that because you come into my office and cry privately in front of me. So I kind of disagree when, some people are like, well, they really weren't working. Well, I would say that they are working, and probably working 10 times harder with about 1/3 of the result. So
and yeah, and that's why I wanted you to speak, because for some people, it's the category of I'm doing the work and I'm not getting the results I used to get. And for some
right.
people, it's I'm doing the work, or I think I'm doing the work, but it turns out I'm not really. And some people just aren't doing it at all. They're like, well, I
Mhm.
posted on Facebook twice and nothing's happening. It's like, well,
Yeah.
that's not gonna cut it. And so whatever bracket of that you are in, if you're like not really doing the work, but you're like, sometimes sending a text or sometimes making a post or sharing, keeping current matters, like we know how to level up that and to do the work intentionally for the 30 days. If you are someone who's been doing the work and you're like day in and day out doing the work and you're working with a coach and you're like, why isn't this working? What am I doing? Please come to me, because I will also look at your business and look at what you're doing and help you decide, is it a matter of, like Chris specifically, I always give the popcorn analogy. You're doing, you put it in the bucket and it's like nothing happens. It has to heat up to a right temperature, has to get, and then you get the pop, 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 pop. Last year, the popcorn cooked a lot faster. Like last year it was a microwave oven and we were super fast. This year we had to like get sticks out and make a fire, and it had to get to temperature, and it's taking a lot longer.
Exactly.
Whatever you're doing, as long as you're working and you're aware of your actions, we can craft it and tweak it and like evolve it together, right? So there's so much data, and I know we're at 2:31. If anybody had an appointment, please pop off and find. I'm going to share one last 30-second thing with you. We will keep sharing the tools, the resources. Tomorrow at Thursday at 1:30, you're going to have that link to the Zoom that you can go in from national coaches who are going to give you other pointers. We're going to keep doing that going forward. And the last thing I want to share with you is, maybe it's cheesy, maybe it's awesome. How you talk to yourself matters so much. I can't say that loud enough and strong enough. If you know Stuart Smalley from SNL, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like me. We were trained to think that was weird. I promise you it's not weird. You will have no problem telling yourself that you're dumb and you're stupid and I can't believe I forgot that and you really screwed that one up and why don't you just try harder? Versus how much time do you spend telling yourself, I'm good, I'm kind, I'm awesome, I'm a good agent, I'm good to my people. And so I will share with this video with you guys of how I programmed my children into saying affirmations all the time on the way to school, in the car, in the morning, wherever you're doing it. And I will say, let's keep going. Confidence builds and closings come, and you're going to keep saying that tied together for the rest of this year going forward. So I'm going to share my screen and see if it works. Sometimes I spaz this out. Let's see if it goes. Minimize this. Let me press. Oh my gosh, this is my share sound, the magic button I never do. Okay.
Hi guys. I know you guys might have rough mornings, and I want to give you guys a little tip. And my tip is to sing things that you love about yourself and things that are gonna happen that's good. So maybe like I am brave. I am awesome. I am strong. I am beautiful. I am kind. And all those good things like that. So you guys keep doing those affirmations. We love you. Bye. Hi guys. I know you guys might have rough mornings. And I don't know if you guys tip. And my tip is.
Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, look, I did it. Yay. Okay, so program your brain, give yourself a little tip. I'll drop it on our Facebook page too, so you can remind yourself of things to say to yourself. Be kind to you, and please take us up on our resources for, I don't know what to do, I don't know who to talk to, please help me be better. That is literally our job, is to help you be better. So thanks for sticking with us today. I know I went over. I appreciate all of you. Make it an awesome week, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye.